Welcome back, I'm Tedward, and today we're investigating a very ordinary car. This is the 2021 Hyundai Elantra SEL. It's the middle of the range, and I'm actually glad that McGovern Auto Group let me borrow this car from their Brockton store because the press cars are always fully loaded. They're the most expensive way to do it, but this is probably the trim and spec that most people will buy them in. And I think it's really important to feature cars like this because I can't tell you how many times I've gotten asked the question, what should I buy for this price range? And if it's very low and they want something new with a warranty, I often don't have answers. I can recommend 911 Tourings all day long, but that doesn't help an ordinary person looking to commute to work in traffic. So first off, the Elantra has had a crazy redesign. You either love it or hate it. And back in the day, you'd insult cars by saying, it looks like a Hyundai. Well, that's not the case anymore unless you just don't like this design, but they've at least taken the liberty of being unique. This doesn't look like anything else on the road. And even Honda has taken a big step backwards as far as design language with the new Civic. It looks like an A3 or it looks like a Jetta. It's boring. It's gonna be hard to identify it, or at least with this, you will not mistake this car for anything else on the road. Inside, let's take a seat. This is brand new. I'm like the first one driving this car. Tons of room. All right, here's the deal. Back when I graduated college, I had a carpool to work, and one of the people in my carpool, she drove a 9th gen base Civic, and she was a terrible driver and she terrified me, and I didn't want to do carpool because I was like, I'm gonna die in this car. Well, in 2021, things are a lot safer and a lot more luxurious. So not only do I feel like this is a much nicer place to be than those days, and I know I can't compare a 2021 car to something that she owned in like 2009. But what I'm trying to get at is that new cheap cars are insane. When I was in high school, people's cheap cars were death trap Cavaliers or Sunfires that were definitely going to kill them. All right, let's take a look in the trunk for the space. Kind of a funky design. Oh, and of course I've lost my plate already. Good to know. But back here, loads of room. You can fold down those seats. You're good. You understand it. You're here to watch me drive the car, so we'll go do that. But first, let's take a look under the hood. You can tell we're working with ultra economy because we don't even have struts. We've got the prop bar. But yeah, pretty simple, 2-liter. It does the job, 147 horsepower CVT. That's a heavy hood. Okay, they did not save weight there. But this car with the convenience package comes out to $23,000. That is insane. A car with radar, cruise control, and driving assist, lane keep assist. Pretty sweet. But you came here to watch me drive. Hyundai did a really good job with all of the surfaces that the driver touches. So although some of these materials are a little cheap, the shifter, the engagement's really nice. The steering wheel has a great leather-wrapped feel. It's reminiscent of the new Genesis line with the shape. Love it or hate it. It's pretty nice to touch. The last time you saw me drive 140-something horsepower 4-cylinder CVT was in that Subaru Legacy, and I did not like it. I caught a lot of flack for that. A lot of Legacy owners really love their Legacies. I can't understand it. That car is so boring. All right, I'm going to get off my Legacy tirade, but the point is, it angered me because I believe you can make cheap cars that are still good cars, that are still entertaining to drive, that still have some character, and I felt like that car had no soul. What I'm finding in this Elantra right off the bat, we've got some soul. You notice the interior feels more premium than its price, for sure. We've got these incredible displays. They're not S-Class displays. Let's not go crazy here. But at least it is somewhat of a step into the future. And because the information that they show you is pretty basic, along with fairly basic graphics, I don't think these are gonna go out of style too quickly. And that's important because if I'm buying a Hyundai, I'm buying it to drive it into the ground. I'm going to use every ounce of that 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty that I can. Especially, the depreciation on, say, like a $60,000, $70,000 car after a couple years, you're gonna lose 20 grand. On this car, it costs 20 grand. You can't really lose that much money. I can't believe this person let me go. The seating position in this car is actually lovely. I feel like I'm nice and low, and I don't have this weird feeling of claustrophobia like I've gotten in a lot of new cars, because here's the deal. Safety standards mean that the door line has to come up higher. And all these new cars, you feel like you're sitting in this little capsule. It's like getting in a Camaro where you have like no visibility and it's kind of a nightmare. Whereas this car, the car like falls off around you. The front of this nose goes so low. I mean, like, look, I'm not gonna go so far as to say it's like a McLaren, but as far as like cheap cars go and visibility out of the front, this is as close as it gets to that, because it drops way down, so you can really use all of that visibility. And thank God they didn't put paddle shifters on the CVT. That would have driven me nuts. Now, it does have like a little sport mode thing where you can toss it in here and I guess do this. Fake gears. They went the wrong direction. Plus is forward, minus is back. That's wrong. That's wrong, Hyundai. Fix that. But also don't, because I don't care. The only reason I would use that is to slow myself down going down a hill so I don't have to, smoke my brakes out. We have 3 drive modes: normal, smart, and sport. We shall put it in sport mode because I'm feeling sporty. Genuinely not sure what happens. I think it's really just adjusting the tune of the CVT so it keeps it higher in the rev range instead of focusing on fuel economy. That's fine. I mean, look, CVTs in theory, great. And for most normal people who aren't looking to like go thrash their cars, it does the job. They don't notice it's not shifting. They don't even care. They program the shifts into these so people feel like it's a normal car. Oh, he's enjoying himself. Attaboy. But the reality is, like, this could just sit at redline and stay there with my foot to the floor and do the job. It could do that. They don't do that though, because I think it feels weird to people. And no, it's not the purpose of this vehicle to be sporty and go to a racetrack, but I want to see how it handles. Impressive in the transitions. Good suspension tuning. And let's see how she brakes. Oh, very nice. It's so weird to listen to CVTs operate. So genuinely kind of impressed by how it does the thing. It's not a sports car. It's not a sports car. It's not supposed to be a sports car. But for an economy car that costs $23,000 with some options, this is cool. And even though ordinary people probably aren't going to drive their Hyundai Elantras like I'm driving this one, I think it's important that it can do that, because you want to see that it's got good chassis and suspension tuning. You want to make sure that everything is set up properly, because that is what makes a car a car. That's what makes it good. If a bad car is going to kill you, because it's going to understeer, it's going to oversteer, it's going to do unpredictable things. And maybe the average driver who's picking up an Elantra isn't thinking about weight transfer, isn't thinking about trail braking into a corner, does it oversteer when you lift off mid-corner, things like that. Those are things you don't think about until there's an accident and they're saying, I don't know how it happened. Well, it's because you did it. It's because you crashed your car. You lost control of your car. But if cars have good handling characteristics, it's less likely than that people are going to lose control of their vehicles. So I do think it's important to be able to drive these cars like this. I'm feeling clever. Let's go to smart mode. Okay. Creature comforts in this are pretty sweet because I've got heated seats. These heated seats are aggressive, like very aggressive. You're going to turn that on 3 and very quickly realize you need to knock that down to 1 because, you'll think you peed yourself. But otherwise, it's very simple. You get supportive seats. They're not leather. You have to go to the higher trim level for that. Okay, I'm going to turn these off already. That is an aggressive heated seat. Hyundai, I need to take a thermometer to that. Yikes. It just feels well balanced, to be honest. I'm impressed. It's less understeer happy than I anticipated. I thought this was going to push more, especially on like kind of cheapy econo tires. Let's take our time. I see some traffic. Don't you hate it that everyone's staring at their cell phones all the time? So now, every time you're sitting at a green light, there's a car in front of you, the light turns green, they're staring at their phone, you have to beep and tell them to go. Well, watch this. If we are stopped, he starts pulling away from me, I get a warning. Lead vehicle driving away? Amazing. If the world had this, we'd have less missed lights. Of course, you'd never do that. You would never talk on your phone. Oh, no. Oh, my God. What am I looking at? He's not into my hat. He doesn't like this. Wow. That's not great. I think he's facing a pretty long list of fines today. Whoops. All right, back to the Hyundai. I'm gonna be nice to it. It's very new. I don't want to redline it. Okay, it's fast enough though. That's kind of nice. All right, let's set our cruise control and then let's get real fancy. $23,000, guys. $23,000. I'm letting go of the steering wheel, and it's driving itself, sort of. So far, it doesn't scare me. Let's find out. Can it do it? Okay, it can't make its own lane change, but it will let me do it because I use my blinker. Always use your blinker, guys. So please, don't rely on this technology in traffic so you can stare at your phone and do things, but it's a nice added safety feature, especially if you're tired, if you're on a long drive, or if you're just bored. I think sometimes people get bored, they look around, they do stuff. It's good to have a little technology to make sure you're not gonna rear end somebody or drift out of your lane. NVH is not so bad. I can definitely hear the world around me. No surprises there, but not to keep coming back to price, but it's $23,000. Look, a 911 GT3, it is not. It's not a Hellcat, but I can still chase down this Challenger, and that's fun. But I think it's important that car enthusiasts have like cheap cars like this in their back pocket to recommend to people, because I can tell you all day long how to spec out your 911 and how to buy a supercar or a fun sports car. But a lot of people ask me buying advice on ordinary cars. They're like, my budget is this. I want a new car with a warranty. What do I get? That's a difficult place to be. And I think it's important that we all have some knowledge as car people so we don't sound like complete idiots, because then your friends are like, I thought you knew about cars and you can't recommend me a car? Well, sometimes it's hard to recommend a car under like $70,000. Wow, cool Isuzu. Sometimes it's hard to recommend a car under $70,000 when it's, all you're interested in, all you're working toward. And we forget about some of these little guys that make a lot of sense. So thank you so much to the McGovern Auto Group for inviting me out to drive this new Elantra. Thank you so much for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. Don't forget to respect the drive. I'll see you in the next one.